One of the main reasons I would say that I got into business coaching is because I came to the reality one day that, when it comes to the marketplace and how sort of resources and money transfers, it's really based on the idea that, our value to the marketplace is directly proportionate to the problem we solve. So the size of the problem or the speed in which we solve a problem. And, one of the things I did when I was in early business as a business owner, I spent a lot of time solving problems. And I think that if you look at a business owner, that's really what they do inevitably, is they solve people's problems in the marketplace. And as we started going, and I started realizing more and more, statistics started coming out around business. They talked a lot about how business was one of the big problems, was that people failed, and a large majority of people failed in business. In fact, in a 20-year span, less than 2%, 3% of business owners remained. And I thought to myself, as I was looking for my next step in life, after owning and operating multiple business, what could it be next for me to be able to solve problems? And what's a problem that is quite big and needs solving and would actually make a big impact to the world if we were to do it? And, obviously I'd worked with businesses. I'd kind of come in and out of multiple different businesses, and I've helped people over the years develop businesses. And I've always worked hard on myself in learning how to be more successful and be a better version of myself. And I thought, what would really challenge me? If I could help owners solve the problem of business burnout and running out of time and running out of money, running out of stamina, and be successful. And that was legitimately what really was the big epiphany, was I wanted to solve big problems, and I knew business was one of those problems. People would always say that, they tried business, it just wasn't for them. But I knew that there was something missing, because one person could tell me one thing. When it comes to business, they would say it was simple, that they really enjoyed business, it gave them more than they ever had, more than they ever wanted. And then another person would say it completely ruined them and that they would never consider it again. And what was interesting, I guess, about that the most is the simple fact that how could it be so different of an experience for one person than another? And that's really what it was. I realized that I wanted to help business owners become the best versions of themselves, because I knew that if they got better, their business would be easier for them. Not necessarily easier, but it would get easier because they got better. And, as I meet business owners now, it's such a massive part of my enjoyment in a day is helping business owners overcome. Mostly it's their limited beliefs, and mostly it's the skills they're missing in order to be successful, and beliefs and those types of things. So inevitably, I guess if I'm really being honest about why I'm a business coach, because people say, like, what made you get into this, and why are you, I guess that's the good question. That's a really good question. It's like, why are you authorized? Why are you a business coach? Like, what makes you a business coach? And I said, I guess what really makes me a business coach is that I never give up, and that I always find solutions. There's an answer and there's a solution for every problem. And I never give up until I find the problem and then dig deep to get the solution for it. The problem isn't always the problem, as you know, and it's not always obvious. So sometimes there's a lot more to it than what we believe. And I think that's a part of it, is we got to realize is that if we're in business and we're looking to solve people's problems, then the only way to really make more money is if we can do it faster or we solve bigger problems. That's why I do what I do. Pretty simple. Hopefully that answers your question on how or why I decided to become a business coach.